each episode of Access was a mile, we'd have just run a marathon. And episode 26 has plenty to get you sweaty. Check it. We're in Amsterdam getting high on the slashy delights of thumping action sequel Darksiders 2. We're also fawning over a Belgian CG dog in our Tintin Blu-ray review, and blubbing at a virtual robot lady in our PlayStation briefing. First up though, it's Blades at the ready for our stab-happy Game of the Week, Ninja Gaiden 3. We don't know why the government's response to terrorism is to take photos of your danglies before you board the 1535 to Malaga, because Ninja Gaiden 3's foreign policy is way more effective, namely send in a really hard man in groin-worrying rubber to hack any wrongdoers into small chunks of regret.
Don't want to die.
The really hard man in question is one Ryu Hayabusa, whose tactics include merciless stabbing, heartfelt compassion,
I'm just trying to feed my kid.
And shoving his taut ninja buttocks right in front of the camera. Hello, buns. Even tougher than Ryu's finely sculpted derriere is the game itself. Ninja Gaiden 3 has retained the notoriously hardcore leanings of previous titles and will wallop you in the thumbs if you don't come prepared. And quite a lot of the time when you do. There's the generously named Hero Mode for action virgins, where carving through bone and sinew is as simple as mashing square and triangle, but then you'd be doing it all wrong. Ninja Gaiden's beating heart is in lightning reactions and the coldly efficient murder of anyone that isn't you. Handily, when it comes to offing terrorists, Ryu has more than a few tricks stuffed down his unitard. Firstly, he can do this, which, as you can see, is just really brilliant. But even better are his abilities to bounce between walls like a mega-thighed grasshopper, twang enemies into a red paste using this chunky bow and arrow, and shoot a massive fiery dragon out of his hands. Enemies range from simple sword fodder like these gun-loving Cockney grunts, to the amazing, the brilliant, the wonderful...
Let's dispense with the introductions, shall we?
Fine then, die. The action never lets up, with a variety of fighty playgrounds taking you from sodden London to the scorching Rub al Khali desert, and a combat system that's deep, violent, and when you nail it, thrilling like a big bloody roller coaster. Ninja Gaiden 3 bears its steel on March the 23rd, and we recommend it like donning squeaky spandex and creeping up on a bloke with a rocket launcher. Surprise! Brace yourselves for a massive news impact. It's time for your PlayStation briefing. First up, making an emotional splash in the deep end of the Can Video Games Do Art debate is the jaw-dropping Kara, a tech demo from Heavy Rain developer Quantic Dream. The video shows lovely actress Valerie Curry being pieced together like an IKEA wife before doing that clever robot thing of realising she might actually be alive and making us blub like X Factor rejects.
I want to live. I'm begging you.
You can watch Kara online right now, and if David Cage and his team don't make a game out of it, well then, tough, but it'd make us even sadder. Thank goodness then for Namco Bandai's cheery upcoming lineup, which features driving through walls, rocket-spewing mechs, and shooting things while upside down. Here's Namco's Peter Oliver to give us the lowdown.
I think the reason why the lineup's so exciting is because it's all very, very different from each other. You've got Ridge Racer Unbounded, a really great, fun arcade racer, Armored Core 5, one of the very few really high-quality mech games around at the moment, and Inversion, which is a really different take on the third-person shooter genre.
Next, if the 8-month wait for Resi 6 has you feeling parched, then you can always take a sip of Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City, strafing onto PS3 on March the 23rd, and shooting at the same time, finally! This co-op friendly shooter is a decent Resi snack before November's main course, and has you popping shots at, for the first time since probably last week, zombies! Hopefully they'll stay dead this time. Lastly, it's time for you lot to get your voting caps on for the Access Magazine Cover Star competition. Over 100 talented folk entered the contest to design the magazine's next cover, with a Sony DSLR, Sony NEX7 compact camera and a PlayStation Vita waiting to fill the winner's gadget pouch. Head to facebook.com/PlayStation Access to cast your vote. We didn't submit ours in the end because it wouldn't have been fair on the competition. That's all your news for now. We'll be back with more next week. Right then, lovers of all things digital, you're up. It's our rundown of PlayStation's best on the store. Screeching onto PSN and PlayStation Vita this week is the MotorStorm RC Pro-Am expansion pack. I know, already! Which comes loaded with 16 new challenges, 8 new vehicles and 4 new tracks to test them out on. As with the main game, this sizable slab of DLC offers all the fun of hurling remote-controlled cars around the place, minus all the smashed plant pots and broken kitten legs that come with doing it in real life. We're sorry, Mr. Whiskerson. Just as colourful and every bit as high-def is Rayman 3 HD, a spruced-up re-release of PS2's platform classic. Thanks to the recently brilliant Rayman Origins, the limbless wonder is as much in vogue as dressing like an idiot, with this threequel offering plenty of levels to bounce through, collectibles to hoover and hoodlums to thonk. It's on the store today, so go get some. If you're still hungover from Twisted Metal's army of sociopaths, then Wheels of Destruction World Tour might be just the tonic you need. This download-only title brings the win by pinning the focus on guns, cars, and guns on cars. And it's also got massive concrete playgrounds and lots of explosions. Good, we do love concrete and explosions. Lastly but not leastly is Assassin's Creed Revelations, with Ezio and Altair's last hurrah now available on the store in its entirety. The game has an emotional sting as sharp as its blades and is a great excuse to get you all excited about the mega brilliant Assassin's Creed 3 feature we've got coming up next week. Yeah, we went to Montreal for the world first reveal. It's alright. That's all from the store for now. We'll have more virtual knickknacks for you next week. The thing about turning Tintin into a big blockbuster is that he's 11 years old and you only see one side of his head. So congratulations to Steven Spielberg and Peter Jackson, who last year used the magic of motion-captured CG to bring the world of the plucky Belgian journalist alive in the big screen and gave him a whole face. A face you can now buy on Blu-ray, along with the rest of the film. They also gave him a stonking great adventure that looks pretty incredible, with a crazy level of detail that even extends to the ruffled fur of the ever-dependable Snowy.
Not the sandwich. The keys.
The only downside to the film is that it's all but Uncharted 3, what with Tintin finding himself on a boat, on a plane, in a desert and racing through a bustling sandstone village, all without being as handsome as Nathan Drake and without us being in charge of all the shooting. Still, as sort of cartoon versions of Indiana Jones go, this is the best one ever, and well worth picking up.
Well, you looked a little cold, so I lit the fire.
In a boat!
Access All Areas this week comes to you from Europe's capital of moderation. It's Amsterdam! We weren't just there to drink in the sights, however. THQ's Hell-tinged sequel Darksiders 2 was in town, and we caught up with developer Vigil Games to talk swords, massive horses, and playing as Death.
Well, this time around in Darksiders 2, Death has the ability to run up walls. You can also run along them horizontally, both of which you can only do for a short period of time.
You know, we did look at the incarnations of Death, you know, the traditional Reaper type character in a hooded cloak.
So we have the Reaper attacks that the Scythe can do. If you do delay chains down through the Scythe, you can actually get him to literally do a Scythe move, but then the Reaper will come out as well and do a move for you, which will do a lot more damage. So that's like a unique thing that only Death could do.
But Death is Death, right? Can't he just decide he's not actually dead?
Well, based on the fiction, the Four Horsemen aren't at their full power as you and I would know them, unless all 7 seals are broken. And at this point in the story, that hasn't happened yet, so he's still vulnerable to physical attack and damage and things like that.
And also there's something in the story that happens that you can kind of see why there's a certain, not weakness, but something that kind of like changes Death quite deeply.
That's all lovely and everything, but what would you be a horseman of?
I think I'd be the horseman of art, I guess, with my long scythe paintbrush.
Horseman of time, to somehow have control over that. Reverse it, go backwards, go forward, speed it up, slow it down.
I know, the Horseman of Fun. That sounds like a pretty cool horseman for me.
Thanks guys, that's all from Amsterdam and Darksiders 2. We'll have more on the game in the run-up to its June release. He might have 6 arms, glowing eyeballs and the strength of a meteor, but Asura from cinematic cracker Asura's Wrath still enjoys the simpler things in life, like relaxing in hot springs, knocking back shots, and staring incredulously at impossible physics. Why are we showing you this? Because there's a sharp life lesson to be learned. Namely, you can look at impossible physics, but you can't touch impossible physics, or else you get decked by a man with impeccable stone buttocks. Bye!